The massive crystal chamber floated in the void between stars, its walls glowing with soft blue light. Inside, representatives from 1,000 worlds sat in their special chairs, each one made to fit their different bodies. Some breathed water. Others needed special gases, and many required machines to keep them alive in the shared space. Ambassador Zeth Kalar of the Vrex Empire stood at the center podium, his 6 arms moving in patterns that showed great worry. His people looked like tall, thin birds with silver feathers and large black eyes. When he spoke, his voice came through. Machines that changed his chirping sounds into words the other species could understand. Council members, Zeth Kalar began, our deep space sensors have found something that should not exist. 3 days ago, we detected signals from the Forbidden Zone. Someone is coming from Sector 847 Delta. A wave of shocked sounds filled the chamber. Council Leader Moravex, who looked like a living mountain of purple crystal, rose from his platform. His voice rumbled like distant thunder when he spoke. Ambassador Zeth Kalar, please confirm your report. Are you saying that life has emerged from the death zone? Yes, Council Leader. The signals are clear. Ships are moving toward our space, coming from the 3rd planet of System Sol 3. Our computers show this world as Class 12 Deathworld. Nothing should be able to live there. Dr. Yolandra, the Chief Science Officer, floated forward in her water tank. She looked like a jellyfish made of light, with long tentacles that glowed different colors when she was excited or worried. Right now, they were flashing bright red. Council Leader, I have studied the data, she said through her water speakers. The signals come from a planet with conditions that would kill most of us in seconds. The air has poison gas called oxygen at deadly levels. The gravity is 3 times stronger than most worlds can support. The planet shakes with earthquakes and burns with fires from the ground. Admiral Castorian of the Hegemony Fleet stepped forward. He was a warrior from a race that looked like giant crabs, with thick shells and many clawed arms. His people were known as the strongest fighters in the galaxy, but even he seemed afraid. The ships we detected are wrong, he said in his clicking voice. They are made from basic metals, but somehow they travel faster than light. Our best scientists cannot understand how these crude machines work. They should break apart when they jump through space, but they do not. The chamber filled with worried voices in hundreds of different languages. Some delegates called for their homeworlds through emergency channels. Others demanded immediate military action. A few suggested fleeing to the far edge of the galaxy. Council Leader Moravex raised his massive crystal arms for silence. When the chamber grew quiet, his voice boomed across the space. Dr. Yolandra, please share your full report about this death world. The jellyfish-like scientist's tentacles turned bright yellow as she accessed her data files. The planet they call Earth shows impossible readings. Surface temperature changes by over 50 degrees each day. Violent storms with winds that could tear apart our strongest buildings happen regularly. The electromagnetic radiation from their star would burn through most of our protective suits. She paused, her tentacles flashing orange with worry. But the worst part is the life signs. Our sensors show billions of large creatures moving on the surface. These beings are active during the day when the deadly radiation is strongest. They seem to thrive in conditions that would sterilize entire star systems. A delegate from the Peaceful Worlds Alliance, who looked like a walking flower with bright petals, raised one of her thin arms. Perhaps these creatures are machines. Robots built to survive on such a terrible world.
Doctor?
Yolandra replied, her tentacles now pulsing deep red. The biosigns are clear. These are living beings with complex biology. They breathe the poison air, drink the contaminated water, and seem to enjoy the crushing gravity. Another delegate, this one resembling a floating cloud of sparkles, spoke through harmonic tones. What do we know about their technology and weapons? Admiral Castorian's shell changed color from green to dark red, a sign of extreme concern among his people. Their ships show construction methods we have never seen, thick armor designed to survive massive impacts, life support systems with so much backup equipment that they could keep working even if most of the ship was destroyed. He clicked his claws nervously. These beings come from a world where everything tries to kill them, so they have learned to build things that cannot be broken. Their simplest tools are stronger than our most advanced equipment. A small, mouse-like delegate from the quiet colonies squeaked a question. Could they be peaceful? Maybe they just want to trade or explore. Look at the evidence, Admiral Castorian replied. They have survived on a planet that would kill any of us in minutes. They have built machines that work in impossible conditions. They travel between stars using technology that should not exist. These are not peaceful traders. These are apex predators from hell itself. Dr. Yalandra added more frightening details. I have analyzed the radio signals from their world. They broadcast images of violence and conflict as entertainment. They have wars among themselves, yet their population continues to grow. They perform activities they call sports that involve deliberate physical harm for enjoyment. The chamber erupted in panic. Delegates from the inner worlds began transmitting emergency evacuation orders to their home planets. The representatives from peaceful species called for immediate surrender negotiations. The warrior races started planning military responses. Council leader Moravec struggled to maintain order as fear spread through the chamber like a plague. His crystal body began to glow brighter as he processed the implications of the reports. Silence, he commanded, his voice echoing off the chamber walls. We must consider our options carefully. We have 3 choices before us. The first option came from the Vrex Empire. Ambassador Zethgalar proposed immediate military action. We should attack them while they are still far from our core worlds. If we wait, they might reach populated systems and begin their conquest. The second option came from the Scientific Consortium. The representative, a being made of living metal who could change shape at will, suggested careful observation and study. We should learn more about these creatures before we act. Perhaps we can understand their weaknesses. The third option came from the Border Worlds Alliance. Their delegate, who looked like a walking tree with eyes in the bark, recommended containment. We should evacuate all worlds in their path and create a barrier of empty space around them. Let them pass, but keep them away from our people. The debate continued. More reports arrived from the border sensors. The unknown ships were getting closer, moving at speeds that should have been impossible for such primitive technology. Each update brought new fears and confusion. The beings from the Death World seemed to ignore all the rules that governed galactic civilization. They traveled without proper environmental suits, built ships without safety protocols, and came from a planet that violated every known law of biology and physics. Some delegates suggested that these might be the legendary demons that ancient texts warned about. Others believed they were weapons created by a long-dead civilization. Few thought they might be the result of some terrible scientific experiment gone wrong. But all agreed on one thing. Whatever was coming from the darkness between the stars was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The peaceful civilizations that had known only safety and comfort for thousands of years were about to face something that had been forged in the fires of an impossible world. As emergency sessions began on every civilized planet, one question echoed through space. What do you do when death itself learns to travel among the stars? Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty, watching the stars through the main viewing screen. His ship was part of humanity's first deep space exploration fleet, sent to find new worlds and hopefully make contact with other intelligent life. The crew had been traveling for 6 months, mapping star systems and collecting data about planets that might support human colonies. The bridge was busy with the normal sounds of a working starship. Officers moved between stations, checking instruments and updating navigation charts. Communications officer Lisa Grant sat at her post, monitoring radio frequencies for any signs of artificial signals. She had been doing this job for 3 years and had never found anything more interesting than that natural cosmic radiation. That changed when her instruments started beeping with an unusual pattern. Lisa adjusted her headset and listened carefully to the incoming signal. It was not random static or natural noise. Someone was sending a message using mathematics in simple pictures. Captain Morrison, Lisa called out, her voice showing excitement. I'm receiving an artificial signal on multiple frequencies. It's definitely from an intelligent source. Captain Morrison walked over to Lisa's station and looked at the data scrolling across her screens. The message showed basic number sequences, followed by simple drawings of circles, triangles, and other geometric shapes. It was exactly the kind of first contact protocol that Earth scientists had predicted aliens might use. "How far away is Miloetas?" "The source?" the captain asked. "The signal is coming from about 2 light hours away, sir. And captain, there's something else. My instruments show at least 12 large objects moving in formation toward our position." Commander Paul Hughes. The ship's security officer heard this news and immediately began checking the Liberty's defensive systems. Paul was a careful man who always prepared for the worst possible situation. He had served in Earth's military for 15 years before joining the space exploration program. "Captain, should I raise shields and charge weapons?" Paul asked. "Not yet, Commander. Let's see what they want first." "Lisa, can you send a response using the same mathematical pattern they used?" Lisa worked quickly at her console, creating a reply message that followed the same format as the alien transmission. She sent back the mathematical sequences and added some basic information about human mathematics and science. Within an hour, a new message arrived from the unknown ships. Dr. Rachel Ford, the fleet's science officer, studied the alien response with growing amazement. The new message included detailed information about chemistry, physics, and biology. It showed that whoever was sending these signals had advanced knowledge of science and wanted to share information peacefully. "Captain, this is incredible," Dr. Ford said, looking up from her analysis. "They're sharing scientific data about their home worlds. Look at these atmospheric readings and gravity measurements." Captain Morrison examined the data that Dr. Ford had translated. The information described planets with perfect climates, gentle weather, and gravity levels that seemed almost magical compared to Earth. The alien worlds had no storms, no earthquakes, and no dangerous animals. They were like paradise gardens, floating in space. "These places sound too good to be true," Commander Hughes said, reading over the captain's shoulder. "Are you sure this data is accurate? The mathematics check out?" "Perfectly," Dr. Ford replied. "If this information is correct, these beings come from worlds that are basically perfect for life. No harsh weather, no natural disasters, no dangerous conditions of any kind." As the two groups of ships moved closer together, more messages were exchanged. The aliens shared pictures of their beautiful cities, their peaceful societies, and their advanced technology. Everything they showed looked clean, safe, and carefully controlled. The humans responded by sharing information about Earth and human civilization. They sent pictures of cities, descriptions of human science, and basic information about their biology. However, they were careful not to reveal too much about their military capabilities or the true nature of Earth's environment. After 3 days of message exchanges, both sides agreed to meet in person. The aliens suggested building a neutral meeting station in empty space between their fleets. They transmitted detailed plans for a structure that would allow both species to meet safely. Captain Morrison was impressed by the alien engineering designs. The meeting station would have separate areas for each species, with different atmospheric controls and gravity settings. It showed that these beings were experienced in dealing with other alien races and wanted to make sure everyone would be comfortable. Construction teams from both fleets worked together to build the meeting station. The humans were amazed by the alien construction methods. Their workers used robots and energy fields to assemble the structure without ever leaving their ships. Everything was done remotely to avoid any possible danger or contamination. Ambassador Helen Ross arrived on a fast transport ship to lead the human diplomatic team. She was Earth's most experienced diplomat and had spent years preparing for the possibility of first contact with aliens. With her came Professor Danny Clark, a language expert, and Colonel Steve Barnes, a military advisor. "Captain Morrison, what can you tell me about these aliens?" Ambassador Ross asked during her briefing. "They seem peaceful and highly advanced," the captain replied. "Their technology is far beyond ours in many ways. They've shown us cities that look like works of art, and their ships appear to be powered by energy sources we don't understand." "Have they shown any signs of aggression or military preparation?" Colonel Barnes asked. "None at all," Commander Hughes answered. In fact, they seem almost afraid of any kind of conflict. Every message they send includes multiple assurances of peaceful intentions. Professor Clark had been studying the alien language patterns and communication methods. Their language appears to be based on harmonic frequencies rather than spoken words. They create beautiful music-like sounds that carry complex meanings. It's unlike anything we've encountered before. The day of the meeting finally arrived. Ambassador Ross and her team entered the meeting chamber, which had been pressurized and heated to support human life. The room was larger than expected, with smooth walls that seemed to glow with their own light. The aliens who entered from the opposite side were nothing like what the humans had imagined. They were tall and graceful, with skin that seemed almost transparent. Their limbs were long and thin, and they moved with a flowing motion that looked like dancing. Everything about them suggested fragility and elegance. The alien leader approached the center of the room, moving very slowly and carefully. He wore a device around his neck that translated his harmonic speech into human words. When he spoke, his voice sounded like gentle music. Greetings, beings from the distant world. I am diplomatic envoy, Zarathul, of the Galactic Council. We welcome you to our part of the galaxy and hope for peaceful relations between our peoples. Ambassador Ross stepped forward and bowed slightly, as was human custom. Thank you, Envoy Zarathul. I am Ambassador Helen Ross, representing humanity and the planet Earth. We are honored to meet you and learn about your civilization. The formal introductions continued for several hours. Both sides shared basic information about their governments, their cultures, and their hopes for the future. The aliens spoke about their peaceful alliance of worlds, their scientific achievements, and their long history of cooperation between different species. Professor Clark noticed that the aliens seemed very interested in human social structures and decision-making processes. They asked detailed questions about how humans solved problems, resolved conflicts, and made important choices. Their questions showed genuine curiosity, but also something that might have been concern. Colonel Barnes observed that the aliens never mentioned anything about military forces, weapons, or defense systems. When he carefully asked about security for their worlds, they seemed confused by the question. It was as if the concept of needing protection from threats was completely foreign. To them, Dr. Rachel Ford was eager to learn about alien biology and the worlds they came from. She shared basic information about Earth's ecosystem, describing the variety of life forms and environmental conditions that existed on humanity's home planet. The aliens listened with what appeared to be polite interest as the meeting continued. Both sides began to relax and share more personal information. The humans described their journey through space and their excitement at finding intelligent life. The aliens spoke about their curiosity regarding the mysterious signals that had come from such a distant and unknown region of the galaxy. Everything seemed to be going well. The aliens appeared peaceful and friendly, and the humans were thrilled to have made successful contact with an advanced galactic civilization. Neither side realized that they were about to discover something that would change everything they thought they knew about each other. The real revelations were still to come. The cultural exchange sessions began the next day in a larger chamber within the meeting station. Both humans and aliens had agreed to share information about their home worlds, their daily lives, and their civilizations, Ambassador Ross thought. This would be a wonderful way for both species to understand each other better. The human presentation started first. Ambassador Ross activated a holographic projector that filled the center of the room with three-dimensional images of Earth. Beautiful blue oceans appeared, showing waves crashing against rocky coastlines. Thick white clouds moved across the display, and the aliens could see vast continents covered with green forests and brown mountains. This is our home world, which we call Earth, Ambassador Ross explained with pride. It is the third planet from our sun, located in what you call Sector 847 Delta. Our world has many different environments where humans live and work. The hologram changed to show a thunderstorm over a city. Lightning flashed across dark clouds while rain poured down. On buildings and streets, people could be seen walking through the storm, using umbrellas and wearing protective clothing, but otherwise going about their normal business. Professor Clark noticed that several aliens had started making worried, harmonic sounds, their translators. We're having trouble converting these sounds into human words, but the tones suggested distress or fear. Is something wrong? Please continue your presentation, the alien diplomat replied, though his harmonic tones seemed strained. We are simply surprised by some of the images you are showing us. The hologram continued to display scenes from Earth. Ambassador Ross showed them mighty mountain ranges with snow-covered peaks, deep valleys carved by rivers, and vast deserts where the sun blazed down on endless sand. She explained how humans lived in all these different places, adapting to whatever conditions they found. Our people enjoy many different activities, Ambassador Ross said as the display changed again. We swim in natural bodies of water, climb mountains for recreation, and explore caves deep underground. Many humans spend their free time outdoors enjoying the fresh air and sunshine. Dr. Malthus, the alien chief scientist, began making rapid harmonic patterns that his translator struggled to convert. When the translation finally came through, his voice sounded panicked. Ambassador Ross, please stop the presentation for a moment. I need to confirm some of the data we are seeing. The readings from your world show atmospheric pressure levels that are ... concerning. What do you mean? Dr. Rachel Ford asked, stepping forward with her own datapad. Our atmospheric pressure is perfectly normal for human life, about 14.7 pounds per square inch at sea level. The alien scientist's harmonic tones became even more distressed. That pressure would crush most of our species instantly. Our home worlds maintain atmospheric pressure at less than 2 pounds per square inch. How do your bodies withstand such extreme conditions? Colonel Barnes exchanged glances with Ambassador Ross. Something was clearly wrong, but they were not sure what was causing the aliens such distress. Perhaps we should share information about our physiology, Dr. Ford suggested. Maybe that will help clear up any confusion. She activated her own holographic display, showing basic human anatomy. The aliens watched as three-dimensional models. DEMONSTRATED, human bone structure, muscle density, and cardiovascular systems. Dr. Ford explained how human bodies were designed to function in Earth's environment. Our bones are quite dense to support our body weight in Earth's gravity, she said. Our muscles are strong enough to move efficiently despite the atmospheric pressure. Our hearts pump blood through our bodies, using significant force to overcome the environmental resistance. The alien delegates were making increasingly panicked harmonic sounds. Several of them appeared to be having difficulty breathing, even inside their protective environmental suits. Dr. Malthus was consulting his data instruments frantically. Dr. Ford, the alien scientist, said through his translator, "The gravity. Readings from your world show 9.8 meters per second squared. Is this correct?" "Yes, that's standard Earth gravity." "Why do you ask?" "Our homeworlds have gravity levels between 2 and 4 meters per second squared. Your gravity would literally flatten most of our people. How do you move around under such crushing force?" Professor Clark was beginning to understand that something fundamental was wrong with their mutual understanding. "Envoy Zarathal, perhaps you could show us information about your homeworlds. That might help us understand the differences between our species." The alien presentation began with images of breathtaking beauty. Perfect cities made of crystal and light rose from carefully manicured landscapes. The weather was always calm, with gentle breezes and soft rainfall that never became violent storms. Gardens filled with delicate plants stretched as far as the eye could see. "This is Viridian Prime, my homeworld," Envoy Zarathal explained. "Our atmosphere is carefully maintained at optimal levels for life. Temperature varies by only a few degrees throughout the year. Our weather control systems prevent any dangerous conditions from developing." Ambassador Ross looked at the peaceful scenes with growing confusion. "Weather control systems? You control your planet's weather?" "Of course," Dr. Malthus replied, sounding surprised by the question. "Natural weather patterns are far too dangerous and unpredictable. All civilized worlds have complete environmental control to protect their populations." The alien display continued, showing daily life on their worlds. People moved slowly and gracefully through perfectly climate-controlled environments. Everything was designed for safety and comfort. There were no rough surfaces, no sharp edges, no activities that might cause injury or discomfort. Colonel Barnes asked the question that was troubling all the humans. What about emergencies, natural disasters, equipment failures? Do your people handle dangerous situations? The harmonic sounds from the aliens became confused and worried. We do not understand the question, Envoy, Zarathal said. Our worlds do not have dangerous situations. Our technology prevents all possible hazards before they can occur. But what if something goes wrong? Dr. Ford pressed. What if your weather control systems fail? What if there's an earthquake or a volcanic eruption? Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions do not happen on civilized worlds, Dr. Malthus explained patiently. We choose only the safest planets for our colonies. Geological activity is far too dangerous to risk. Ambassador Ross felt a chill of understanding beginning to form. Dr. Malthus, how would you classify our world in your system of planetary types? The alien scientist consulted his instruments before answering. His harmonic tones were barely audible when he spoke. According to our classification system, your world rates as Class 12 Deathworld. It is listed in our databases as completely uninhabitable by any known form of life. The meeting chamber fell completely silent. Both humans and aliens stared at each other as the implications of this statement sank in. Deathworld. Professor Clark asked quietly, a planetary classification reserved for worlds so hostile that exposure would kill most galactic species within minutes. Dr. Malthus explained. Class 12 is the highest danger rating in our system. We use it for planets with crushing gravity, poisonous atmosphere, violent weather, and unstable geology. Colonel Barnes spoke carefully, trying to keep his voice calm. Dr. Malthus, what you call a death world is simply our normal home environment. Humans have lived on Earth for hundreds of thousands of years. You're perfectly adapted to these conditions. The alien scientist translator began producing sounds of pure terror. That means you are not just visitors from a death world. You are death world natives. You're beings who evolved to survive in conditions that would annihilate our entire civilization. Envoy Zarathel's harmonic patterns became rapid and high-pitched. The atmospheric composition of your world would poison our people in seconds. The gravitational force would crush our bodies immediately. The electromagnetic radiation from your sun would burn through any protection we could devise. Ambassador Ross tried to maintain diplomatic calm, but she could see that the situation was rapidly spinning out of control. We mean you no harm. You came here seeking peaceful contact and friendship. You breathe poison and live under crushing weight as easily as we walk through our gardens. Dr. Malthus whispered through his translator, you swim in liquids that would dissolve our tissues. You climb mountains that would collapse under their own weight on our worlds. The alien delegates began transmitting emergency messages to their fleets. Warning signals flashed on their communication devices as word spread about the true nature of humanity's origin world. Please understand, Ambassador Ross said desperately. We are exactly what we appear to be. We are explorers seeking knowledge and friendship. Our world may be harsh by your standards, but it is simply home to us. But the damage was done. In the space of one presentation, humanity had gone from being mysterious newcomers to being regarded as unstoppable monsters from the darkest nightmare world imaginable. The peaceful first contact that both sides had hoped for was about to become something neither had expected. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant when apex predators developed space travel. The news spread through the galaxy faster than anyone had expected. Within hours of the cultural exchange session, emergency transmissions were racing between star systems. The message was simple but terrifying. The unknown aliens were not just visitors from space. They were death world survivors who could live in conditions that would kill entire civilizations. On the galactic communication networks, reports grew more frightening with each retelling. The original scientific data about Earth's environment was shared from world to world, but new details were added along the way. Soon, stories were spreading about invincible warriors who could survive in the vacuum of space and beings so strong they could crush starships with their bare hands. Admiral Castorian received the first military assessment reports aboard his command ship. His tactical officers had been analyzing human technology ever since the first contact, and their findings made his shell change from green to deep black with fear. Admiral, his chief weapons officer, reported, "We have completed our analysis of human ship construction. These vessels are built using methods we have never seen before. Their hulls can withstand impacts that would destroy our strongest battleships." Weapons officer brought up holographic displays showing the human ships. Even from a distance, the alien sensors could detect the massive construction differences. Where galactic ships were built with lightweight materials and elegant designs, human vessels looked like flying fortresses made of solid metal. "Look at their armor plating," the weapons officer continued. "It is designed to absorb tremendous punishment. Their life support systems have backup systems for the backup systems. These ships are built by beings who expect everything to break down and try to kill them." Admiral Castorian studied the data with growing alarm. "What about their weapon systems?" "That is the most terrifying part, Admiral. Cannot detect any obvious weapons on their ships. Either their technology is so advanced that we cannot recognize it, or they are so confident in their abilities that they do not feel they need weapons." General Nathan Cross received similar reports aboard the human flagship UES Liberty. Earth. Command was sending urgent messages asking for detailed information about the alien response to first contact. The reports from the diplomatic team were confusing and concerning. Intelligence Officer Maria Santos said as she entered the General's office, "We're intercepting alien communications across multiple frequencies. The translation computers are having trouble with some of the languages, but the basic message is clear." "What are they saying, Officer Santos?" "They're calling us unstoppable killing machines, sir. The aliens believe we're an invasion force, sent to conquer the galaxy. Some of their news broadcasts are describing Earth as a planet full of demons and monsters." General Cross looked at the intelligence reports with confusion. "Demons and monsters? We went out of our way to show them. We're peaceful. We shared our science, our culture, our art. How did they get the idea that we're dangerous?" "It seems to be related to our home world, sir. They've classified Earth as what they call a Class 12 death world. According to their science, nothing should be able to live on a planet with our environmental conditions." Meanwhile, back on the diplomatic station, Ambassador Ross was trying to salvage the situation through continued negotiations. However, each attempt to explain human nature seemed to make things worse instead of better. Dr. Rachel Ford had prepared a presentation about human biology and adaptation, hoping to show the aliens that humans were simply well-suited to their environment. She displayed information about human immune systems, showing how the human body could fight off diseases and heal from injuries. The alien scientists watched in horror as Dr. Ford explained how human white blood cells actively hunted and destroyed invading organisms. To beings whose immune systems were entirely dependent on carefully controlled environments, the idea of internal biological warfare was terrifying. "You mean to say," Dr. Malthus asked through his translator, "that your bodies contain specialized warrior cells that attack and kill other life forms?" "Well, yes," Dr. Ford replied, not understanding why this was causing such distress. "That's how we fight off infections and diseases. It's perfectly normal." The alien scientist's harmonic tones became so high-pitched that his translator began producing warning sounds. "Your bodies are equipped with internal armies designed for constant warfare. You are literally built for battle at the cellular level." Cultural attached Linda Hayes tried to improve the situation by sharing examples of human art and entertainment. She showed them paintings of beautiful landscapes, sculptures of human figures, and examples of human music. The aliens seemed to appreciate these peaceful cultural expressions. Then Linda made a critical mistake. Thinking that action movies might show human creativity and storytelling abilities, she shared clips from popular Earth films. The aliens watched in absolute terror as humans on screen performed impossible physical feats, survived explosions, and fought through situations that would kill any galactic species instantly. "This is your entertainment, Envoy?" Zerothal asked, his voice barely audible through the translator. "You watch depictions of survival in deadly situations for pleasure? These are just movies," Linda explained quickly. "They're not real. They're stories we tell for fun." But the situations you show for entertainment would be classified as extinctional-level events on our worlds. You create fantasies about surviving conditions that would end our civilizations. The situation got even worse when engineer Carlos Martinez was asked to demonstrate some basic human tools during a technology exchange. He brought out simple items that any human would consider completely ordinary: a hammer, screwdriver, a knife, and a basic mechanical wrench. The alien delegates reacted as if Carlos had brought weapons of mass destruction into the meeting chamber. Several of them activated emergency protocols in their environmental suits. Dr. Malthus began, transmitting urgent warnings to the alien fleet. "These are just tools," Carlos said, confused by their reaction. "We use them for building things and fixing equipment. Every human learns to use tools like these when they're children." "Those are weapons," Envoy Zarathal said, his harmonic tones filled with fear. "Devices designed to impact, cut, and destroy. You carry instruments of violence as casual equipment." "They're not weapons," Carlos protested. "They're for construction and repair work. On our worlds, all construction is done by automated systems specifically to avoid the need for such dangerous implements. The fact that you manually handle devices capable of causing injury shows that your species has no concept of proper safety protocols." Professor Clark attempted to explain human sports and recreational activities, thinking this might show the aliens that humans enjoyed peaceful competition. He described football, basketball, and track and field events. The aliens listened with growing horror. "You deliberately engage in activities where physical contact and potential injury are expected outcomes?" Dr. Malthus asked. "You compete to see who can endure the most physical stress." "Sports are fun," Professor Clark explained weakly. "They help us stay healthy and build teamwork skills." "You consider physical trauma to be recreational," the alien scientist translated for his colleagues. "These beings seek out opportunities for bodily harm as a form of entertainment. By the end of the day, every attempt at cultural exchange had backfired completely. The aliens had interpreted human immune systems as proof of biological warfare capabilities. Human entertainment was seen as training materials for surviving apocalyptic conditions. Simple tools were viewed as primitive weapons. Sports were understood as combat training disguised as games. The final disaster came when Dr. Ford mentioned that humans often kept animals as companions. She showed pictures of dogs, cats, and other pets, thinking the aliens might find them cute and harmless. "You domesticate predatory species and keep them in your living spaces." Envoy Zarathal asked in disbelief. "They're pets," Dr. Ford said. "Dogs and cats are friendly companions. Many humans love their pets like family members," if formed. Emotional bonds with creatures that possess natural weapons such as claws and teeth coexist peacefully with beings designed to hunt and kill other animals. The aliens concluded that humans were so accustomed to danger that they actually sought out potentially deadly companions for emotional comfort. Two species that avoided all possible risks. This was proof that humans were completely insane by any reasonable standard. That night, the alien fleet received orders from the Galactic Council. The human threat was too great to be ignored. Deathworld monsters had to be stopped before they could reach civilized space and begin their conquest of peaceful worlds. The galaxy was preparing for war against beings they didn't understand, fighting an enemy that had never intended to be their enemy at all. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from thousands of worlds had gathered to vote on what they called the Deathworld Crisis. The massive crystal chamber buzzed with frightened voices as delegates debated whether to launch a preemptive strike against the human fleet. Council. Leader Moravec stood at the center podium, his crystal body glowing with stress patterns. "Fellow beings, we face an unprecedented threat. The creatures from Sector 847 Delta have capabilities that exceed our understanding. Our military advisors recommend immediate action before they reach populated systems." Admiral Castorian presented the military case for attack. "These Deathworld beings possess technology we cannot counter and physical abilities that make them virtually indestructible. Every day we delay gives them more time to study our weaknesses. Dr. Yolandra floated in her water tank, her tentacles flashing urgent red patterns. The biological data is conclusive. These humans are apex predators with internal warfare systems and survival capabilities beyond anything in our databases. They represent an existential threat to all civilized life. The vote was about to begin when Ambassador Ross transmitted an urgent message from the diplomatic station. Her voice carried across the chamber through the translation systems, clear and desperate. Honored council members, I request one final opportunity to address this crisis. Grant me 12 hours to demonstrate the true nature of humanity. Cannot prove that we pose no threat to your civilization, we will accept whatever decision you make. The debate that followed was intense. Many delegates wanted to proceed with military action immediately. Others argued that 12 hours would make no difference to the outcome. A few suggested that the humans deserved a chance to explain themselves. Finally, Council Leader Moravex made the decision. We will grant this request. Ambassador Ross, you have 12 hours to present your case, okay? But understand that this is your final opportunity. Back on the diplomatic station, Ambassador Ross called an emergency meeting with her team. Captain Morrison and several crew members from the Liberty had joined them, along with Engineer Ben Taylor and Dr. Janet Kim, the fleet psychologist. We need to show them who we really are, Ambassador Ross said. Every explanation we've tried has made things worse. This time, we're going to let them watch us being human. Dr. Kim had an idea that might work. What if we create a controlled environment where they can observe normal human activities? Not presentations or explanations, just people living their daily lives. Engineer Taylor worked with the station's construction systems to build a special observation chamber. It was designed like a transparent habitat with Earth-normal conditions inside, and multiple layers of protection for alien observers outside. The humans could live normally, while the aliens watched safely from a distance. The demonstration began the next morning. Captain Morrison invited volunteers from his crew to participate in ordinary daily activities inside the observation habitat. Lieutenant Amy Chen helped prepare breakfast using basic human food preparation methods. Sergeant Kevin Wright performed routine maintenance on equipment. Communications Officer Lisa Grant read a book while sitting in a comfortable chair. Alien observers gathered outside the protective barriers, their various life support systems, keeping them safe from the deadly human environment. Envoy Zarathal led a group of scientists and diplomats who watched the humans with fearful fascination. At first, aliens saw only what they expected to see: dangerous beings moving effortlessly through conditions that would kill most galactic species. The humans breathed poisonous air, functioned under crushing gravity, and handled potentially dangerous equipment without protective gear. But as the hours passed, something changed in the alien observers' understanding. They began to notice details they had missed before. Dr. Rachel Ford was working at a laboratory station, conducting simple experiments and recording data. Her movements were careful and precise, showing the same attention to safety that any galactic scientist would use. She was not reckless or violent. She was simply a researcher doing her job. Lieutenant Chen was teaching Ensign Nicole Foster how to repair a communications device. Their interactions showed patience, kindness, and genuine care for education. The experienced officer was taking time to help a younger colleague learn new skills. Captain Morrison sat at a desk writing reports and reviewing crew schedules. His actions showed the same administrative concerns that any ship captain would have. He was worried about supply inventories, crew rotation schedules, and maintenance requirements. The breakthrough moment came when Ensign Foster accidentally cut her hand on a sharp piece of metal while working on the communications repair. The alien observers watched in amazement as the young woman calmly examined the wound, cleaned it with antiseptic, and applied a basic bandage. Dr. Melthus recorded every detail of the incident. She sustained physical damage, but showed no signs of panic or distress. She treated the injury herself using simple medical supplies and continued working. What the aliens were seeing was not superhuman toughness or supernatural healing. It was simple human resilience and the ability To cope with minor problems without losing emotional control, Envoy Zarathal began to understand something important. They are not ignoring the dangers of their environment. They have learned to live with them. This is adaptation, not aggression. Dr. Kim had planned the next part of the demonstration carefully. She invited the alien observers to watch humans, engaging in cooperative activities. Crew members worked together to solve problems, shared meals, and helped each other with various tasks. The aliens watched as humans showed kindness, humor, and genuine concern for each other's well-being. They saw people laughing at jokes, offering encouragement during difficult work, and taking care of colleagues who were tired or stressed. Look at their social interactions, Dr. Malthus observed. They are not competing or fighting. They're cooperating and supporting each other. Lieutenant Chen was helping Sergeant Wright move some heavy equipment. Instead of using advanced technology, they worked together, coordinating their movements and sharing the physical burden. When Wright stumbled slightly, Chen immediately moved. To help steady him, they could have used mechanical assistance, Envoy Zarathal noted, but they chose to help each other directly. This shows social bonding, not individual dominance. The most important moment came when Captain Morrison addressed his crew about the current situation. The aliens listened as he explained the challenges they faced and asked for everyone's input on how to proceed. I want everyone's honest opinion, the captain said. We're in a difficult position, and I need to know what you think we should do. We came here seeking friendship, not conflict. The crew discussion that followed revealed something the aliens had never suspected. The supposedly terrifying Deathworld, predators were genuinely peaceful people who were confused and saddened by the galactic reaction to their presence. Captain Ensign Foster said, "Maybe we should just go home. We don't want to scare anyone or cause problems." But we've learned so much, Dr. Ford added. There's an entire galaxy full of intelligent life out there. Think of what we could learn from each other if we could find a way to work together. The question is whether they'll give us that chance, Sergeant Wright observed. It seemed pretty convinced that we're dangerous. The alien observers were recording every word. These were not the conversations of conquering warriors or violent predators. These were the discussions of explorers who were disappointed that their peaceful mission had been misunderstood. Dr. Janet Kim made the final presentation to the alien delegates. She explained human psychology and the effects of environmental adaptation on human behavior. Everything you've interpreted as aggression is actually resilience, she said. Humans developed these traits not for conquest, but for survival on a world that was often hostile to life. We learned to be strong not to hurt others, but to protect ourselves and our families. She showed them data about human societies, demonstrating how humans had actually become less violent over time as their civilizations developed. We have wars and conflicts, yes, but we also have laws, treaties, and international cooperation. We're not perfect, but we're constantly trying to build a more peaceful world. Envoy Zarathal finally understood the truth. You are not monsters from a death world. You are survivors who learn to thrive despite impossible conditions. Your strength comes from necessity, not malice. The final vote in the Galactic Council was unanimous. Humanity would be welcomed as the first Death World species to join galactic civilization. The Terra Accords were signed, establishing Earth as a sovereign member world with full diplomatic rights. More importantly, human colonies began serving as refugee centers for alien species displaced by cosmic disasters. Human exploration fleets pushed into dangerous regions of space that other species could not safely enter. The galaxy learned that sometimes the most fearsome appearance can hide the greatest capacity for protection and growth. The beings who had seemed like unstoppable predators became the galaxy's most reliable guardians, using their Deathworld strength, not for conquest, but for the protection of all civilized life.